someone is talking to you about something personal, something that they don't talk to anybody about, they want you to listen and understand what they're really going through before you start comparing your life situation to theirs and just, like saying, oh, I've been through this, it'll get over with soon, and stuff like that. Because you can't trust people who give you solutions before they understand what your needs are. Most of us do this every day. I feel like everyone tries to be the good guy and help everybody out. This is a good thing, but you can't help somebody without knowing what their needs are. So sometimes we don't even try to listen to the person we're trying to help. We try to solve the problem before we even understand what they're going through. This leads me to my next vlog. I'm Heyli Ruiz, and I'm going to be talking to you about habit number 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Welcome to vlog number 5. There are 5 poor listening styles. Number 1 is spacing out. Number 2 is pretend listening. Number 3 is selective listening. Number 4 is word listening. And number 5 is self-centered listening. I'm going to be talking to you about all of these in the next following clips. So spacing out, you can relate this to spacing out in class or zoning out when your teacher's talking to you. But it's when someone is talking to us, but we ignore them because our mind is wandering off into another galaxy, says Sean Cody. They might have brought up something important and then you just not understand what they're talking about because you weren't listening. You reply with, oh yeah, that's fine. Or anything that's just something that it's easy to say right off the top of your head. Number 2 is pretend listening. This is where we still aren't paying attention to a word they're saying, but we just try to make comments based on what we hear. And some things are cool, yeah, that's fine, and stuff like that I list some in spacing out too because they're related kind of. And when you pretend listen too much, the person who's talking to you will often catch on and understand that you don't care about what they're saying, and they're gonna go find somebody else that actually cares about what they're saying to talk to. Number 3 is select listening. This is where you will only hear what you want to hear. You only tune in when you hear something that interests you. So say if someone was talking about how they're tired of being in their brother's shadow and always getting compared to him, but then they start talking about how their brother's in the army, and then you only tune in saying, oh yeah, the army, I want to be in the army, that sounds really cool. And then they get the gist that you weren't really listening to the army part, and you weren't even listening to how they felt. This will often get you to lose friendships. Number 4 is word listening. This is where we actually pay attention to what they're saying, but we're not paying attention to their body language or anything like that. We only pay attention to the words. So some things that we're missing out on this when we do this is their feelings, how they actually feel about something, and the true meaning behind their words. We miss out on what they're really trying to say. Because number 5 is self-centered listening. This happens when we see everything from our own point of view. We don't try to stand in another person's shoes and see what they're going through. We just assume that it's just like us. So an example is oh, I know how you feel. I know where you come from. We don't know exactly how they feel. We only know how we feel. So we just assume that they feel the same way and then give them advice on the way we feel and not how they feel. And this can lead into another thing. So when we listen from our own point of view and not try to think of another person's perspective, we usually judge, advise, and probe. So judging is the first one. So when we're trying to listen to somebody and they're talking about something that we don't approve of, we usually judge them in the back of our minds. And so when we're doing this, we're not actually listening to them. We're just thinking of our judgments and we don't understand what they're saying. So number 2 is advising. This is when you only give advice from your own experience. So say if somebody asks you for something, you only tell them what you think from what you went through already. So this is good because you know what to look out for, but they might not be going through the same things as you. So here's an example from the 7 habits of highly effective teens for advising. A sister who needs a listening ear says to her brother, I hate our new school. Ever since we moved, I'm like the biggest outcast. I wish I could find some new friends already. Instead of listening to understand, the brother reflects upon his own life and says, no, you need to start meeting up with new people and get involved in sports and clubs like I did. That was an example of advising. He was giving advice from his own experience and not listening to what she was actually saying. Lastly is probing. Probing is when somebody tries to make your emotions come out without you being ready to share them yet. So an example from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens was that a mom was probing her son. She said, "Hi honey, how was school today?" He said, "Fine." How did you do on that test?" He said, "Okay." "How are your friends?" He said, "Good." "Do you have any plans tonight?" "Not really." "Have you been seeing any cute girls lately?" And then the boy responds, "No mom, come on, just leave me alone." No one likes to be interrogated like that. Probing is so similar to interrogating because interrogating is like you just keep on asking questions over and over until you get the answer you want. So in this vlog, I've talked to you about habit number 5, seeking first to understand, then to be understood. I talked to you about the different poor listening styles and examples on those and what to avoid when talking to somebody, and things like probing, judging, and advising. These are all things that you should keep in mind when you're talking to somebody. So now when you're talking to somebody, you should think about if you're actually listening to them or if you're just doing one of these things I have talked to you about today. And if you are, then I want you to figure out a way to actually listen to them so that you don't make them feel bad about themselves, and so that they can be more open about their problems more often, and that they know that you could be a person that they can go talk to whenever they need you. So thank you for watching vlog number 5, and come back for vlog number 6.